How to Escape a Kidnapping. For Kids. Chapter 3. Lesson 3. Kids. Summary. You'll run into all sorts of people through kidnappings. Sometimes these people are fellow kids, ones who are not always as familiar with the life as you are. You'll need to know how to help them. 8-year-old Izuku wakes up with a pounding headache in a pile of children. Gods, why did these kidnappers have to use blunt force trauma? It was so rude. Just use chloroform like normal people. His eyes took a second to adjust to the harsh light. He was part of a rather sizable pile of children, 7 including himself. Within the pile, he spotted a familiar tuft of violet hair. Thank goodness! This was gearing up to be a not-so-fun end to a not-so-fun day. But at least Toshi was here. Izuku moved his gaze to pale purple eyes, only to find them glaring at some Voldemort-looking clown standing in front of a door. Seriously, bald, no nose, robes, an evil vibe. The man began to speak once the last of the child pile regained consciousness, and Izuku tuned him out. You've heard one evil kidnapping spiel, you've heard them all. The kids looked terrified at their situation, listening to the man as if missing something could get them killed. While that was true with some types of people, Izuku had been around the block enough times to tell that this buffoon was not one of them. Izuku's brain went into analysis mode as he shifted ever so slowly towards Toshi. This wasn't a very hardcore or experienced group, plus their leader was a self-absorbed wannabe Dark Lord, which was good because he and Toshi had to somehow get 5 inexperienced kids out of here without getting caught while giving them the kidnapping rundown. Izuku was not in the mood for dealing with other people after his bad day at school, and his headache wasn't helping. This whole kidnapping thing was like a part-time job, and he felt like he should be getting paid. The man's speech ended after way too long, and he left through the door with a swish of his robes. Dramatic bitch. Most of the time, that would be a compliment in Izuku's books, but not today. Today, he thought as he surveyed the group of mostly teary-eyed and sniffling kids, he meant it in the most derogatory way possible. Toshi didn't waste any time, standing in front of the group as soon as the sounds of footsteps faded. Izuku pushed down his own grumpiness and stood next to the boy, looking over the group. Izuku was pretty good at reading people. He had to be. Quirklessness didn't make life easy in any way. So he was decently confident that none of these kids had been kidnapped before. A little odd for first-timers to be so old, but maybe this gang was after a different demographic than most kidnappers. However, this wasn't the type of situation where that information would be overly helpful, so he turned his focus to escaping. A girl and a boy had the same fluffy cotton-like hair, so it was safe to assume they were siblings, if not twins. They were panicked, but looked like they'd be able to make it out without freaking out or breaking down. One boy, with pink and orange hair, looked like he was close to a panic attack. Thankfully, a girl with long black hair that shimmered like the night sky was comforting him. Out of all the kids, she looked the most put together. Not in a way that would indicate she was experienced in this type of thing, but the type that meant she was probably used to pushing down her own fear to help the people around her. She would probably break down after they got out. Izuku made a mental note of that. He may not be in the best mood, but that didn't mean he was going to leave her to break down on her own. The last kid had short blonde hair and a shaky scowl on his face. Probably a kid like Kachan who hid their fear behind anger or some other sort of negative emotion. Not what he wanted to deal with right now. Listen up, Toshi said, and all 5 heads snapped to them. Me and Zuku know how to deal with this type of situation. We've been kidnapped loads before, so if you listen to us, we'll all make it out of here. Why should we listen to you? It was the blonde kid who spoke. Well, it was more of a sneer. Toshi just looked at them, unimpressed. I literally just said that this type of thing happens to us all the time. You guys are obviously new to this, so listening to us is the only way you'll get out. The blonde boy scoffed. You deal with this all the time? This exact thing. Yeah, right. If we listen to you, we'll get killed. The girl with night sky hair put her hands up placatingly. They look like they know what they're doing. Let's hear them out. The blonde scoffs, but doesn't protest further. Now that we're all on the same page, Izuku starts. Welcome to your kidnapping crash course. Hitoshi looks at him, and Izuku gives him a nod. He's got this. Toshi can start breaking them out. This isn't Izuku's first time doing what Akka did for him, though maybe not to so many people at once before. Tip 1. Always carry supplies, Izuku says, as Toshi slips out his lockpicks and gets to work on the door. Lockpicks are a must. If you don't know how to use them, YouTube has a bunch of great videos. Most locks are surprisingly easy to open, but you need to know where to start. All the kids were watching him with rapt attention. Even the blonde kid is, despite the effort to look like he wasn't. At least he wasn't an idiot. Tip 2. Windows are your friend. Now, I'm not sure what floor we're on or what the layout of this building is, but generally, windows are your best bet for escape. No one thinks to guard a window, but most people think to guard a door. We'll keep to 1-story drops for today, but learning how to fall properly lets you escape from even higher. Izuku heard the telltale click of a door being unlocked. Time to move out. He really hoped the other kids could handle this. 3. Be quiet. We're going to be sneaking around looking for a way out, so you need to be very quiet. Toe to heel in a bit of a crouch is a great place to start. Don't ditch the shoes, though. You might need them once we get outside. Pair up. It's time to go, Toshi said quietly, hand on the door. The siblings intertwined their hands. Tears rubbed from their eyes. The night-haired girl helped the crying boy to his feet. The blonde looked at the groups before reluctantly moving towards Izuku. It was clear everyone was afraid, but more than that, they were determined. Kidnappers who preyed on kids never thought they'd have the courage to fight back and do something once they were taken. An oversight that Izuku often took advantage of. Hitoshi slid the door open without a sound, revealing an empty hallway. Izuku knew he wouldn't have opened it like that unless it was empty, so that wasn't a surprise. The black wallpaper, black wood floors, and candles on the walls definitely were. Guess he was spot on with the Dark Lord thing. Emphasis on dark. The room they'd come from was bright enough to make Izuku's headache worse, but the hall, being solely lit by candles, was dim as shit. Maybe they didn't have enough candles for their kidnapping room. The low light would definitely make sneaking out much easier. What would be less good is if they weren't in the city. While it was definitely possible this weirdo decked out their office building like this, the creaky wood floors made it seem a lot more like a creepy house in the middle of the woods. Hopefully it was just a creepy house in the middle of the suburbs. Izuku was sure to keep close to the blonde as they ventured out. Hitoshi led the way, peeking around corners, before giving the all clear. The other kids were doing surprisingly well, footsteps relatively silent, even on the old wood floors, and their breathing even. Everything was going well, so of course that had to end. Suddenly, Toshi stopped near the end of a hall. He whipped around and mouthed, "People, hide." It looked like the siblings were about to gasp in terror or surprise. It wasn't clear, but luckily the blonde covered their mouths with his hands before even a peep got out. Izuku scanned the hallway, brain working a mile a minute. He could hear the people approaching now, and there was no way they could backtrack in time. Their only hope was one of the mysterious doors along the hall. Doors were generally risky because it was hard to tell what was behind them, but this was a situation where the reward far outweighed the risk. He twisted the metal handle, letting out a silent sigh of relief that it was unlocked, before ushering the group inside. The door closed with a quiet squeak as the footsteps grew closer. Everyone held their breaths. Izuku and Toshi could probably take them on the chance they were found out, but he always preferred to avoid that option. Soon enough, the footsteps faded down the hall, and the group deflated. Danger now past, Izuku turned to look at the room they'd found themselves in. "The fuck?" he whispered, as he looked at the pentagram scorched in the floor. The walls were covered in curtains, and lit black and red candles littered the room, most notably at the points of the lovely floor art. In front of it stood a podium with a book bound in what Izuku hoped was cow leather, and a wavy dagger. Now, that was a sacrificial knife if he had ever seen one. "Toshi, did we get kidnapped by a cult?" Izuku asked in disbelief. The purple nut raised an eyebrow at him. "Didn't you hear the guy's speech? He was going on about how he was going to sacrifice 6 of us on the full moon and let the devil use the 7th body as a vessel. Complete nut job." "No!" Izuku said, a little hysteric. "I tuned him out!" "Oh, yeah, well, weird cult," Toshi summarized. "I knew you didn't get kidnapped by cults all the time!" The blonde boy bragged quietly. "Kidnapped, yes. Cults, no," Hitoshi conceded. "Well, yeah, I've been kidnapped once before, so I believe that. My old friend would get kidnapped a few times a year before they left Japan. But cults?" He turned to Izuku. "No wonder you were so calm." Looks like Izuku was wrong about none of them being kidnapped before. Child sacrificing cults did tend to make most people nervous enough to seem like first-timers. Wait. "Toshi, you knew this was a cult. How were you so calm?" Izuku asked. The boy in question shrugged. "It's not really different from any other kidnapping. People want to use us for something with our best interests furthest from their mind as possible. Plus, the next full moon is almost a month away." Why did he know that? You know what? Not important. They need to get out of here. He did not want to deal with a creepy cult and their creepy ritualistic sacrifice. "Check behind the curtains," Izuku said. "Look for a window." The kids hesitated for a second, glancing around the creepy cult room. But then the blonde said, "Move it," and walked towards the wall. The others followed suit. Izuku moved to the far side of the room, brushing aside the curtains. Turns out the walls here are a cheerful baby blue. Guess they really are on a budget. He went across the wall, looking for any way out or anything that could possibly be helpful. The curtains would be useful if they were on the 2nd floor or higher. Tie them together right and you've got a nice rope. But honestly, given this cult was planning on sacrificing them, there was probably rope stashed in here anyway. "Window. Sweet," Toshi called. Curtains brushed aside to reveal a window with spiderweb cracks. Izuku hurried over, eyeing the thick forest of trees outside. But luckily it seemed like they were on the ground floor. Toshi opened the window with a little effort, sliding it up with a grating noise. He gestured for the blonde to go through, but all that happened was the boy got an odd look on his face. "We're just going to leave?" The ice blue-eyed boy hissed. "What else do you want us to do?" Hitoshi questioned. "Write them a note saying we're sorry we left, but good luck with the next sacrifices." The blonde walked towards the pentagram and picked up a candle. "I was thinking more along the lines of burning this place down." Izuku's hand moved to his chin. "I do like a good arson. Plus, that means the police and fire will come and catch these guys. I doubt this is the only room like this, and that cult leader guy didn't seem the type to abandon his creepy cult building." The blonde smiled. "I like you, Greenie." "It's Izuku, but thanks. And oh yeah, tip, I can't remember what number I'm on, but anyway, only use first names in situations like this." The blonde extended his hand, not holding his soon-to-be instrument of arson. "In that case, I'm Nato." The 7 children had plenty of time to talk on their way back to civilization, the old building burning brightly in the fading evening behind them as they ventured deeper into the forest. Yay, arson! And yay, I'm back! So yeah, I'm back from my break. It was slightly unexpected because, I don't know, I thought I could keep up with exams this time, but like last time, but I could not. I needed to completely focus on them. But anyway, I'm back. though I will probably dip out next time exam season rolls around again. But anyway, yes, Arson, yes, Monoma. Yes, I forgot how to pronounce his first name and had to like search it up on YouTube for like 5 minutes because I kept forgetting every time I switched back to try to pronounce it. Anyway, yes, cults as well. They burned down the cult. It's great. Kidnapping, how to make it interesting, cult. That was my thought process for this one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. And like, I hope you enjoyed, how do I pronounce his name again? Forgot. Anyway, Monoma. I hope you enjoyed Monoma's little, showing up in this one. Because if like Hitoshi and Izuku are getting kidnapped, Monoma definitely got kidnapped a couple times as a child. So there he is. Doing arson, burning down buildings. He's great. He's just a little bitch who likes arson, apparently, according to me. So he's great. But yeah, this is the last one that I have posted currently for this series. More being written. One of them is almost completely written. But hopefully I'll have time to work on it now that exams are over, and I'll get that completely written and posted, and then whenever it is posted, I'll just PODFIC it afterwards for you guys on here. So hope you enjoyed this series for now. It'll be back sporadically and eventually. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye!